Hello everyone, welcome to another Huckstack tutorial. In this tutorial we'll talk about reusable spinner. What do we learn? We'll learn how to add a spinner to the view, for example for the async call or something that we want to show some activity to the user that we're doing something behind the scene. And we will learn how to install FunAwesome and what is actually FunAwesome. Okay, here's the final product after we watch this tutorial. We have some sample button. Then when you click on it, we have some async call, or we have some activities that we need to show something to the user. And then after we're done, it will dismiss by itself. So when I click on it, it will show for a couple of seconds this activity indicator, and then it will dismiss it again. So I'll do it again, and you'll see you can put any icon for here. We will learn it later. So let's learn how to do it. Okay, let's first talk about the structure of the project. It's like the other React app projects. We have the public folders, SRC folder, and the package and the rest of the stuff. So if we go to the SRC folder, you will see the components, Redux. So for the previous tutorials, we showed how we can add Redux. This is not part of the tutorial. You can go back and watch the Redux tutorials, but it was there, and I kept this one here. And for the components, we have HOC called with spinner, and we added some home page. Okay, for the spinner itself, I use the icons. And what icon? I use this library called FontAwesome. So if I zoom in, you'll see FontAwesome, and you can find any icon that you would like. So you can just say activity or spinner. You can say spinner. So it will show you all kinds of spinners here, but you can filter them by which one is free. And that's the one that I used for our tutorial, but you can feel free to use any of them that you would like. So how to install it? I can just go back here and go to the package JSON. You'll see here @FunAwesome / FunAwesome -free. So basically you have to run this command in your editor, your terminal. So basically you would say npm install npm install and this. So let me zoom in, npm install, and then this. So once it's installed, so I can just dismiss this. I don't think that you need anything here. You have to go to the public folder and go to the index.html and copy this line that they are providing for their script. So basically you have to copy paste it here. You can follow their documentations here, but that was all I mentioned in the tutorial. So if you want to set it up, that's all you have to do. Just add this script and then do npm install FunAwesome. That's all. Now if I go to the app itself, you'll see it's a simple route here, which is loading homepage. And what do we have in homepage? I can go directly to this URL or this path. So it's in the components and home, and I can just directly go to the home page. And what do we have in the home page? This is the button that we saw on the screen. Basically, it returns this button that when you click on this button, it will run this function. So this is go to account page. So what do we do here? We just dispatch the action that we will talk about it later, how we want to show spinner, and then it will, for the purpose of testing, we just used set timeout. So this is the place that we can add our async calls. Currently we just have a timer, and after 2 seconds it will run this command or this function to hide the spinner. So first we show the spinner as soon as they click on the button, and then after 2 seconds, which is, you can see here, 2000 milliseconds is 2 seconds, it will hide the spinner. Okay, now since we talked about the home page, we can just get over it and going back to the structure of the project and going to the Redux, and we had tutorial how to work with Redux Toolkit. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend to go there and watch it before watching this tutorial, then it will make sense. So if I open the slice for using this spinner, I use Redux Toolkit to hide and show the spinner, and it's basically we are setting the variable inside of Redux to on or off, or true or false, and if it's true it will show the spinner, if it's false it will hide the spinner. So basically this is the structure of each slice, a standard slice. I just added the type for the slice that we have. Basically should show spinner is a boolean that it takes, and then we have the actions that we define in our slice, which is, one of them is show spinner, the other one is hide spinner, and basically this is the reducer that we return. If you have not watched the tutorial, again I highly recommend to watch the Redux Toolkit. Okay, now for the slice itself, we call the name, it has some properties. Slice, the one of them is name, and we call it spinner. Initial state, since we want the spinner to be not showing at the beginning, so we set it as false. And then the reducers, so these are the reducers that we have, and we have two actions that we had here, and we can just say if we have to show the spinner, this is the function for it, so it will set the should show spinner to true if we call this function, and for the hide spinner it will call should show spinner to false. So that's as simple it is. So if I expand everything, you'll see the whole file here. That's our Redux Toolkit spinner that we define. So then we have to use it in our store file. So again, if you watch the tutorial for Redux Toolkit, you will see that we have to use the store file, and then this store file, it will we will add this spinner to the store of our application. Basically it goes to the Redux store of our application. So whenever we want to call this or use this spinner value, we can just get it from the Redux. And where do we use this store? It's basically inside of the index.tsx, as you see the store. So these are the things that we've learned before, but you can review them on the previous tutorials. So now, since we have the style and Redux, we can, I don't want to refactor it, we can now go to the other component, which is our HOC higher order component, with the spinner, and use the selector that we created. So if I open the with spinner and just disregard the part that you see on the top, I just explain this part first. So for HOC, again, for HOCs, we have some tutorials what are HOCs and how we can create HOCs, but I will go briefly over it. The HOC is a component that returns a component, and it's something that we are using here. As you can see, it returns the initial component that we are passing into it, and it adds some stuff to it as well. So basically this part is the spinner itself. So for me, I just use the boolean to show or hide the spinner. And where do I get the value for this show spinner? It's basically getting it from this const, which is using the use selector. So again, for Redux Toolkit, you'll see this use selector and you can learn more about it. But all it does is just go into the state and Redux and gets the value of show spinner. So if it's becoming true, it will show this class name, then this part will be shown. Otherwise, it will send the hidden class. And what do we have for a hidden class? As you can see here, the hidden class in the CSS file or SCSS file, it will force the view to be not display not. So if I go back here, we have two types of it's basically a ternary operator. So if it's returning true, it will not add any class name, but if it's sending false, it will hide the spinner because of this class name that we defined for our SCSS. So the rest of the stuff that you see here are just the styles of how it will show the spinner. So you can copy paste them and use them for yourself. It basically puts the spinner in the middle of the screen and rest of the stuff. So if you want to modify them, you can easily do that. Basically, this is the font size of the spinner. So if you want the spinner to be smaller, you can set it up here, and all of this stuff. So you can modify these things and then get your outcome result. Okay, last but not least, how do we use that Font Awesome icon? So if we open the with spinner that we created, if you notice that we have this line of code here, basically this is responsible to show this icon, and FA solid, FA circle notch is the name of that icon. So if I go back to Font Awesome and select this one, you will see that it will giving me the same icon name that I have to put inside of my component. So in order to use another one, for example, if I want to use this one, I can just basically copy this one, FA solid, FA spinner. So if I go back to here, FA spinner, make it FA spinner, save it, and going back to my application, and then I have to refresh the app, and this time it will show this new style. And you can use any other icon. If I use FA gear, it will show that gear instead of the see, that's how it works. So that's all about the spinner. So we have, as I said, we have some styles for it, and you can modify these styles for the spinner and get the different look and feel for your activity indicator.